And here we are.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Hopefully you can see and hear us clearly this Saturday evening, Saturday the 19th of April.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is Easter.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, please do check out the Easter specials that I have up on the main channel on the Open by Chance. I got Daffy Duck's Easter. I've got Berenstein Bears, and I've got Family Circus, which no one even knew they did specials, but yeah, Family Circus with the original commercials inserted back in, because that's something that I do. So,
hey, K Munin, how are you?
K Munin is here.
And everyone else who is watching, welcome again to the channel. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule and spending it with us. We really do appreciate it. Hey, Pastor Rick, how are you? So I hope you had a very uneventful week, that it wasn't too much stress and headache and things didn't get on your nerve to the point where you had to scream or hit somebody or hit something, but that you were able to get through it.
Sometimes you just got to box your way through it, punch people in the head.
And if it was eventful, I pray that the events were pleasant and it brought you joy and comfort.
Hey, Axel is here.
But where are all the bees and why so many dying? We haven't seen that many bees this year.
Because
hey, James,
a lawn is like a desert to them. You know, what they normally would eat, is no longer provided almost anywhere. We've eliminated it. The same reason you're not seeing butterflies anymore.
Yeah,
the regular lawn care has destroyed it, or the pesticides involved, or the stuff they spray on the sides of the roads that kills everything.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah, we're really knocking them off.
Yeah, the only thing you can do in your yard is to make to plant flowers.
Yeah, wildflowers,
roses, gardenias, any type of flower. They love it.
Yeah, Robert's joining us today. Glad you could make it, Robert.
Hey, Robert, and thank you to Pastor Rick.
Something for the kiddie pool,
for
and
the kids.
Again, for anybody who's not aware, we do take care of a lot of shelter cats, and we currently have 15 that we're dealing with. So yeah, every little bit counts. Thank you very much, Pastor Rick. We appreciate it.
Yes, yeah. Butterflies you haven't seen, but something I saw that was I thought was interesting, and it is billed as for homeschooling. They have this butterfly like kit where you take the kid out, you plant these flowers, and they give you, like, I guess the caterpillar, and you plant it and they become the butterfly, and then they got all of the stuff you need to keep them and care for them. So it's supposed to help you, take the kid out as part of their science and stuff. And I thought that was cool.
Sure.
Especially if you into homeschooling.
Ken Union says apparently Hasbro's maximum Hulk is 75% reused mold. Well, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. That's a really common practice from all action figure manufacturers. Oh, Johnny says no 30-minute notification, but he just got home. We're glad you could join us.
Yeah.
But they all do that. I mean, the most famous and obvious, of course, is Masters of the Universe. I mean, they've infamous for reusing molds from all sorts of things. So it doesn't surprise me that they didn't make all new parts for that Hulk. Just a few things. I know in particular the gritting teeth was, I believe, new. But Robert wants to know if we did anything special this week. Actually, we've spent the day at Sasquatch Toys and Comics
in Birmingham, Alabama.
That's right.
And VH says milkweed is good for
Yes.
butterflies. We like milkweed. A couple of years ago, we actually saw about 2 butterflies in the yard. We had some weeds. You know, weeds always got flowers on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were on there. And then, you know, it was in the backyard and it was almost time to cut the grass. And I'm like, man, I don't want to cut the grass.
Don't want to disturb them. Yeah.
The butterflies are out there, but you know, you got to cut your grass. So.
But yeah, we spent the day hanging around with Seth. I put a picture up on Instagram.
Hey.
Hanging around with Seth at Sasquatch Comics, and we filmed the store. Filmed the store, so that'll be coming shortly, as well as a little haul video attached to it, because we did get a few things while we were there, and it's kind of it'd take you by surprise because it doesn't look big, but it is. It was obviously some kind of office space or something at some point, or dentist office, or I don't know. But you know, it turns and twists, and there's rooms all over the place, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, okay. And so you end up going in and out all over and around the store in different locations.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot going on in there. And then it's a pretty fair mix of vintage and modern. And then, of course, there's a lot of comics as well.
Yeah, because he does deal a lot in comics. David just moved in last week and has his full collection.
Will have,
have
first display.
On full display. Well, good. I'm sure you're happy about that, especially if you haven't seen them in a while and you get to look at some things and you forgot you had it. That's always cool. Yes, David did give me the comics. So thank you. I really appreciate those. I truly do. Thank you so much. Hey,
Darren has joined us. But as we again, we did film the whole store, and we're going to that video will be going up. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow or Monday.
Yeah,
we'll get it up, and we'll show a haul at the end to show everything that we picked up there.
Yeah,
we found a few deals. Well, C. Reed is here. Wanted to celebrate. They have completed paying off their mortgage.
Wow! Praise God. Man, that is a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. Wow. Man, because that frees you up. That frees up so much money because that's the bulk of your bills. I mean, you get a mortgage. You know, some people mortgage over $2,000 a month. You freed up all that money to do other things with, to invest and to save. Maybe you need to do some housework. You know, you probably say, ooh, I need a break. I'm so happy I got this house paid off. You can go on a trip. You can do something. I mean, because when you pay your house off, I know it might sound crazy, but that's like freedom. You're not, because you got to pay taxes, but you don't have, let's say your mortgage is $1,500. You don't have to shell out $1,500 a month. You can put that aside. You can do something. Again, you can invest. You can, whatever you want to do. And you don't feel like you're going to work to pay the mortgage. Because that's what a lot of people, man, I got to go to work so I can pay my mortgage, so I can pay my light bill, I can pay off my car, you know, all of this and that there. And you really going because, you know, you got to pay that mortgage because you got to have a roof over your head. You can go to McDonald's to pay your light bill and gas and water. But that mortgage, that thing costs, man. I'm happy for you. I really am. Hey, Metro Sky, how are you?
Metro says they got the Durham Hawkeye and Hot Lips from MASH.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'll show those in case nobody knows what that is. But yeah, the Durham Industries made 2 9-inch MASH figures before TriStar did, because they did those in the 69 or something, or 71. And then of course the TriStar did it in like 82 because they were riding the coattails of G.I. Joe, because they look like G.I. Joe figures. But yeah, I'll show those if nobody's seen them.
I didn't know you get a reduction in homeowners insurance, but just to not have to pay that is good. Oh, I definitely take my family to a new Universal Epic Universal theme park. Good for you. Pay off the house. That's a big deal. Go out for a buffet and drinks. Yeah, that is a big deal.
That's the Durham, Hawkeye, and Hot Lips. And again, they're like 9 inches tall. They're really goofy, chunky figures. Like if you look at their hands, and she's got these big meaty paws. It's like it's man hands.
Yeah.
It's like she's the one that was dating Jerry Seinfeld. She's got man hands. That's that's what these look like. But yeah, and they're not too expensive. It's hard to find decent cards, but they're not too expensive. And like all Durham figures, they have a push button swing feature. So Hawkeye can swing a golf club and Houlihan can beat you upside the head with her lunchbox. Pretty silly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is what he's talking about. And Durham, crappy figures. Really crappy figures. The big turtlenecks. It looks like they get huge turtleneck sweaters on.
Yeah, Robert, I'm gonna get those Sesame Streets. Just the 3. I don't want the Elmo.
No, nobody wants Elmo.
Just the other ones that because they weren't done, so you can't even find them vintage. So I've been canceling a lot of the Big Bad Toy Store stuff lately, but I have been buying some anime, getting some of that now. Okay, cool.
It says Blue Splash.
Yeah, like Klinger. Oh yeah, I remember Klinger. I never knew MASH had figures. What year was
I think
those?
there's 1971 Durham.
Mm-hmm. Hey, good shot.
Durham. But also TriStar made 3 3/4 inches raccoon.
Hey, raccoon.
3 3/4 inch, a complete wave of them with vehicles and a playset. Right about the same time, Hasbro dropped the raw era GI Joes, and I guess they figured, hey, we can cash into this GI Joe because they're articulated just like a raw GI Joes.
Mm-hmm.
You could blend them right in, but I mean, MASH. It's not exactly the kind of show that a kid would watch and want to play.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or play with. It's not that. It's kind of like the Mego Love Boat. It's like, little Timmy might watch the Love Boat, but I don't know if he wants an Isaac action figure. He might want it now, but not when he was 6. You know what I mean?
I saw the Bert and Ernie boxed finally. Black Knight. He usually comes on. Sometimes he has a channel, and he showed Bert and Ernie out in the wild. And that was the first time I ever saw it boxed. And it looked really good. I'm not going to get it. I mean, I have some original ones, like Tycho and stuff. And then I got the Super 7. So I'm pretty good with that. But it does look good because I was curious on how it was going to look.
Yeah.
And they actually look really good. But I don't need another line. I mean, yeah, the scale will be different, but I don't need all that. So, MASH had an Atari game.
Yeah, so did ET, but it wasn't.
I remember
that
the ET because my cousin had the ET Atari, but it's like, what do you do?
But Aaron mentions the MASH mobile base playset. Yeah, it was a big vinyl playmat, and you could put all these tents and buildings on it.
I think we saw that at Toylanta.
Yeah,
somebody
it's
had
a fortune. That's an expensive set when you can find it in decent shape, and it has it's like a play mat that you can drive the vehicles on, and it's supposed to be laid out, and it's got the famous sign, and all the tents and little accessories. It's a pretty detailed set. Actually, it's a tough one to find complete even.
Yeah, I've been noticing for.
Greg says Walmart doesn't have McFarlane.
Yeah, Kay Munin was saying that. I've been noticing, and we talked about it before for months. I don't know, maybe a year. They stopped selling McFarlane. You barely see NECAs, and no more Masters of the Universe. A lot of those toys, they're not selling anymore. So, I mean, it wasn't moving when it was there. So I guess it's like, okay, they don't have it, but Yeah, they're not selling all that. So
Yeah, but again, we hung out with Seth. He gave us shirts. Saudi's Sasquatch Comics shirts, because they do have shirts there. It says Sasquatch Toys and Comics. And then he's got we buy, sell, and trade. Bring us your daddy's toys and comics before your sister does, and we're sorry for your loss, it says. So, yeah. And I know some people there chatting about like landfills.
Yeah.
With the because Funko did dump a lot of stuff, and they also shredded a lot of gift boxes.
They
And
did.
this is the other one, and they just settled out of court for fraud, and we might be doing a video on that actually, because it's kind of interesting what all happened with that. But yeah, Seth was nice enough to do that for us.
Yeah. So we'll wear those to the shows and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And we had a good time visiting with him
Yeah.
and meeting. I don't know if the guy was his brother. His name was Ben.
Yeah.
And his two kids, Thad and Bentley.
Yes.
They were both there, and that was fun. And you'll see them in the video because we talked to we talked to all of them.
Yeah.
But we had a good time, saw a lot of stuff. Like the layout, he had everything kind of like in rooms. So he had like a G.I. Joe room, a Star Wars room, a Star Wars, what was
Transformers.
Yeah, he had things divided up, and he had a Funko Pop room. So he had it divided up pretty nice. It was easy to see things. I mean, yeah, you had to look around and look behind some stuff, but it was set up nice and it was easy to see. So
Yeah.
It's worth going out there if you're in the Birmingham area or not too far. At Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan, they have an exhibit that shows some of the unearthed cartridges from the
ET landfill,
wow.
according to Aaron there.
Oh.
Raccoon herd stores in China are burning and recycling Hasbro Star Wars figures. I have no idea. I have no idea.
It's taken over as planned.
This is something else I picked up from him. Just a sneak preview.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going to do a haul at the end of that tour to show. But yeah, Return of the Jedi trash can.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. I love these things. This is the kind of stuff you used to see in the Sears catalog and things like that.
Yeah, things you always wanted and never believed you were going to get.
Yeah, when you could do a Star Wars themed bedroom for your kid, or strawberry shortcake, or Smurfs, and they had all the furnishings. You could get bookcases and lamps and curtains and bed sheets and throw pillows and little desks and nightstands, and it all would be themed like that. And we see the pieces every once in a while. They turn up. This trash can is actually, I mean, look at that. It's in really, really decent shape. It's nice and clean. Yeah. Because normally these are rusted pretty good.
Yeah. They're usually rusted on the bottom or on the inside.
Yeah, and this one's in really great shape.
Raccoon Eyes had the one with C-3PO and R2-D2.
Yeah.
Did you hear that McFarlane truck was stolen?
Robert says a truck was stolen. Is supposed to be like a Walmart exclusive, and they're all the inventory is missing? All of Walmart's inventory is missing, allegedly.
Like, from all of the Walmarts in America, all 50,000 of them. I mean, really?
I have no idea how that works.
One truck doesn't service all 50 million Walmarts.
Maybe it's maybe the container they were being transported in is lost. It could have fallen off the ship. That happens.
I don't think one container is going to service all 100 million Walmarts in America.
Aaron says he has a shop near him that wants 50 for that trash can. It's a good alternative to the lunchboxes if you can't afford it. I talk about that from time to time because people are like, "Oh, I'd love to get into lunchboxes. It's just too expensive," which is true.
Lunchboxes can be expensive. Can be. Some of them are expensive. Bad. Some of them are not. Some of them you can get, especially if you find lots on eBay. You go to flea markets. You go to antique malls. I found a lot at an antique mall. It was one vendor. I think they sold them for $2 each. I got all. Some of them I wasn't interested in.
Yeah.
But I mean, at $2 each, and they had a thermos.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of get it.
But some of
So,
them can get quite
yeah,
legendary expensive, like
yeah,
insane thousands of
yes,
dollars if they're in good shape and complete. But the trash cans, you don't often see a trash can that's too terribly expensive. And then
mm-hmm.
Also the lunch trays, if you can find them in decent shape,
Yeah,
usually don't go for that much.
mm-hmm.
Some certain trash cans can be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know, for example, the Planet of the Apes one can be expensive. That can be a
Yeah,
couple $100.
I would like the Planet of the Apes lunch tray, lunchbox, and trash can, and all of them. Every time I've seen them, they've been over
And the
$100.
Village People trash can can be expensive and
Yeah,
stuff like that, you know.
yeah,
But most of the rest of them, they're not too bad.
mm-hmm.
They're not too bad. And like if you wanted to do the lunch pail lunchbox thing, and you're like, nah, it's just out of my price range, the trash can or the TV tray might be a nice alternative.
And we did a video a while back talking about alternative things you can do for your collecting.
Oh
Because
yes.
a lot of times you can't afford the actual toy, but you can get some accessories. Like we said, the lunch trays, the lunch boxes, the trash cans. You can find a record. Because sometimes you can find a picture disc record.
Oh yeah.
Or just the jacket is really nicely done. You know, some people
frame tray puzzles
frame
are
tray
usually pretty
puzzles.
cheap.
Yeah, because I found a bunch of frame tray puzzles. Now I wouldn't go as far as party napkins, party hats.
Oh yeah.
You know, party favors. Some people do that, and that's up to you. But there are alternatives.
Your unopened can of 1989 Chef Boyardee Ninja Turtles.
Or the or the icing that's unopened, or
Oh
the
no, the whole I've
toothpaste.
seen sealed Ninja Turtle fruit pies, and it's like, oh, Hostess fruit pies from like 1990. That thing's got to be like a brick.
WCW fan wants to welcome back Carter Lunchbox. There was 1 month back mint with the tag on eBay.
Up
Wow,
to 500, they couldn't do it. Yeah.
$500. Wow, that is a lot. Yeah, because I know, like, I want the Bee Gees one, and sometimes because they did one for each BG, so you know, but
Yes.
they can get kind of expensive.
Yeah.
Like I said, I would like to get the Planet of the Apes one. That looks good. So
Aaron suggested Urban Legend. It's a urgent legend that the last metal lunchbox was Rambo.
Oh,
Discontinued due to a kid getting hit over the head. I never heard that, but my guess would be just because the plastic was cheaper. Plastic is a cheap alternative, and that's why they shifted gears, in my understanding.
Yeah, and so, the cup and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just cheaper. Same reason they went from glass bottles to plastic. It's cheaper. The glass is actually safer because the plastic can contaminate what's inside, and the glass doesn't do that.
We went to a estate sale a few months back, and the people that were doing the estate sale, well, the family that had died, I guess, they had a restaurant, and in the restaurant they had like lunch boxes, like I guess all over the place in the restaurant. So at the estate sale, they were selling the lunch boxes.
Yeah.
But boy, they wanted premium prices.
Yeah, they weren't in the best shape.
No.
And they had like top dollar prices
on
them.
And a lot of them didn't have thermos.
And they had their, when the estate sale goes to half price. And I'm like, yeah, even at half price,
they were still
that's still not
overpriced.
right. It's still not right. I would have to go I'd have to go much lower than even that. And Rafaust met you today at Sasquatch.
Oh, okay. Yes, we saw him.
He has
a
channel.
And when we were leaving, I told David we didn't ask him his name or get to, so we can say hey, because we like to give shout outs of people we saw.
Yes.
We didn't get his name. He told me about the channel. He does comics. So he's a comic book channel. and he shows his latest pickups, but he has a lot of older comics from his childhood, and he went back through them during COVID
Okay.
because he was stuck in the house. So he was going through his comics and started doing videos. So yeah,
Sure.
check out what's it? How you pronounce that?
Rafaust, I believe.
Rafaust Comics.
Rafaust Comics.
Yes, he has a comic book channel. Let's support the people in the community. I've been
Blue
looking.
Splash wants to look at antique malls near them. You can look. Sometimes you get lucky. Most of the time, you'll find it's like surprisingly overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
Robert, you have to look for an. He wants to know how you find an estate sale. You got to look it up.
Yeah.
Usually, you see them advertised on like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, places like that. They used to put it in the newspaper,
Yeah,
but they
but
don't
there's no
have
more
those
newspaper.
anymore. They don't have newspapers anymore.
Mm-hmm. Coca-Cola and wow, really?
Aaron, yeah, they do still do that.
Mm-hmm.
They do still do that.
Oh yeah, it was great meeting you too.
And Saturday morning, did you see the Power Masters toy at the convention? Power Masters.
No.
Did we see that?
I don't know, because I don't know what it is. I would have to see what it looked like to know if I saw one.
Yeah, I'd have to see it because off the top of my head, I'm not sure. We might have seen it.
Yeah, we might have
seen it,
but I'm
like
not
I said,
sure.
off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Because we see a lot of stuff.
I know. And if it's something that I'm not really all that aware of, I don't know.
Or could have just overlooked it, or just not familiar with the name, perhaps. But yeah, that's what happens. But and we do a lot of shows. The last big show, well, no, we went to Retro Toy Swap. But the last really big show, of course, was the Toylanta.
Hey, RA.
RA is here. Was the Toylanta that was their biggest yet. Biggest Toylanta yet. It was a good show.
Yeah, it was a very good show.
Yeah, and Saturday was nuts.
Yeah, I'm sure y'all saw the videos. Yeah. We put up a bunch of shorts while we were there. Of course, we did the live
walkthrough before they opened the doors, and then another kind of highlight reel after the fact.
Yeah,
but yeah, really, really big show. Looking forward to see what they do with the Joe-Lanta, because of course that's the companion show.
Yeah, and it's going to be in the same location.
Yeah,
so we had a good time, and we usually have a good time every time we go somewhere. Yeah. So that was cool.
It's rare that it's just like, ugh, why'd we come here? But what are you gonna do?
Oh, space. Yeah, I'm glad Jada is finally starting to get some love.
Yeah, Munin talking about Jada there. Street Fighters.
I got into Jada back in 2018, 2016, 17, 18, something like that. And they weren't getting a lot of shelf space. They weren't getting a lot of love at all. And I've always said it, and I mean it. Their figures, because at that time they were competing directly with Funko. So they had their little 4-5-inch figures in their boxes, and it was way more articulate than Funko. And the price was the same. Or yeah, roughly the same. They didn't have all those chases and exclusives, but they weren't getting the love that I thought they should have gotten, because they were a much better product, but they was just getting ignored. And then they started doing those nano figures, which I didn't really get into that. Then it kind of just dropped off. Now they're starting to come back, and they're getting some attention, some traction now. So I'm glad about that, because they do cars, of course.
Yes.
But
I think that's what they're best known for.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a Joanne. They're shutting down. Yeah, I didn't go in there
Johnny
at all.
Is saying Joanne's is going out of business. Go there for shelving. Also Party City.
Yeah.
And Big Lots.
Big Lots. But I thought about going to Joanne because I buy a lot of fabric.
Yeah.
But I didn't even go in there to see what they had going on.
And stores going out of business is where we got some of our shelving, because you can get it really cheap from Payless Shoe Source and another clothing store I don't remember the name of.
Payless is where we got the idea about the shoe shelf. Let me see if I can find one real quick. But you go into the shoe store and they have the shoes sitting on a shelf. and it's called a shoe shelf, and it's great for action figures. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try and grab one real quick just to show you what it looks like.
Yeah.
And you can buy them on eBay.
Well,
they come in packs of like 100 or
yeah,
so.
but you need the slat wall system.
Yeah, you got to have the slat wall for that. But this is the shoe shelf, and it fits on the slat wall. And y'all have seen our slat wall system.
Yeah.
We've
shown it in a few videos.
Yeah, but the action figures fit on here great. And we when we were at Shoe City, a shoe show, one of them, we asked about, and they just gave it to us.
Yeah.
They didn't even sell us these. And then of course we ran out. So we went on eBay, pay less. So we went on eBay and they sell it by the 100, and it's cheap.
And these hooks too. All of these components fit in here. They just lock in.
Jada does make some nice die-cast cars. I got a lot of Jada cars.
See, like that hook, it goes right in there, and then you can just put your
hang your figures up
your
on
action figure on it like that. But all different sizes and shapes of shelves, and it works really well for us with the way that we have things displayed in here. It makes it nice and neat and organized. And again, because the shelf itself conforms, it's not like a bookshelf where it's static and you have to try to work around how it's set up. We don't have to do that because you can just, all of the shelves, I think it's like a 3-inch space between each one. Yeah. And then there's another line there. And you can see them in the background there on the wall, where like right here where the Transformers are, you can see those lines. And that way you can fill the whole space. Yeah. And it's not sticking way out, so you can utilize more floor space because if you had bookshelves, they're all going to be at least a foot deep. Yeah. Or more. And that closes in the room. Yeah. But if everything's pressed against the wall, then you can do center displays like we did here with the tables.
The next retro toy swap is in June because it's every other month. Yeah.
First
Saturday of the month, and they had one in April. So the next one will be in June.
Yeah. And 6 times a year, first Saturday, June, then August, October, and then December.
Yeah. So they have it 6 times a year, and it's pretty good.
It is one of the better local shows. And we talked about it. The last one was a little dry, mainly because we saw a lot more modern than normal. But we still had a good time. Still found some decent stuff. Yeah, but I've had some of my best luck there with finding just crazy things that you never see anyplace.
And you usually get really good deals there. Yeah. So you always got that.
Because a lot of the people that go to those shows are not vendors. Yeah. Because it's like $20 to set up. $20, and if you go to a regular convention, it can get quite expensive, into the hundreds or more. Yeah. Even if it's a big show, it can be into the thousands for a spot. So for $20, and you can set up, bring your own table, and it really encourages people to make the deals. Yeah. And again, a lot of the people are not vendors. They're just people trying to unload stuff. And so you can find decent prices on things pretty easily.
No, Robert, we've never done a tour once a month. I mean, that would be kind of pointless. Since
we did one. We probably are due to do a walkthrough in here.
Yeah. But no, we wouldn't do one once a month. That'd be kind of pointless. It'll be the same thing every month. Yeah, I mean,
like I saw this.
Yeah, I think we should do one when we make major changes or get some. But if you don't change nothing, you're just looking at the same thing you already saw. So you could just look at the one from last year, I think.
Yeah. So Brad wants to know if we own the house, wondering if you rented or you need permission to set up such a beautiful room. Well, thank you for the compliment. Yes, we own the house. Yeah. But of course, if you were renting, I don't think they would let you do it. No. Especially since these slat walls, like you see this one right here, I mean, they're attached right to the studs. And so a landlord would not appreciate that very much.
Unless you fix it when you get done. They don't even want you to paint.
No, they don't even want you to paint, really, when you rent things. They're pretty strict about a lot of that kind of stuff.
Because they know people are going to just leave and not fix it back.
Yeah.
So now you stuck with like purple and red walls because that's your favorite color. And it's like nobody else in the world likes that but you. So, and then you got all this holes in the wall that you don't patch, or you do patch, but all you see is little white spots all over the place from where you put plaster all over it.
Yeah,
so
and then that whole wall needs to be repainted.
Exactly. Yeah. So nobody want to be bothered with that.
I mean, when I was in apartments, they don't even allow you to hang pictures because they don't want you putting nails in the walls.
Yeah.
And if you were going to paint, you could only use white paint. There is no exception. They're pretty strict about a lot of that kind of stuff. They don't like you modifying anything.
No. So, but they wanted to stay basic.
Fortunately for us, I mean, we have a big bonus room and we had all that space. But yeah, I mean, we usually do. I think we did a couple of tours last year, but we probably are due for one here. Just a walk. Yeah,
I mean, every year is okay. Yeah. Again, like for a while, we didn't really change too much, so we didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So, you know, we didn't do a tour, but
yeah, and you know,
hey Patrick, how are you?
Patrick is here. For further explanation, you know, I can pull this over real quick because I've got a mobile center display, and I've shown this before.
Yeah.
And I'll just pull it over really quickly just to show you the slat wall.
And we got this from the shoe store.
Yeah, and it was
one of the center racks that they put their accessories on, like their belts and earrings and stuff like that.
See? So this really all
you probably got to back it up a little bit so you can kind of get it like in frame. So you can kind of see it. Yeah.
And you see there is a shelf on this, but it's really simple. You've got these. This one is full of hooks, but I could take the hooks off and then hand me a shelf. And I could take one of the shelves and, you know, just pop it right there. And if I want to sit something on it, you know, now I have that option.
Yeah.
And it's really, really simple. And they have full length shelves that come out like 12 inches.
Yeah.
And you put the hooks in and set the shelf on top of it. And I use those as runners on the bottoms of all of these. This has turned out to be a great system for us for display. You know, when we were looking for ways to display things, this just really appealed to us because there's so many modular options with it. Plus it's got a nice clean look, a nice professional look. That's why a lot of times people, they get confused and they're like, dude, where's your store?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah,
it's not a store.
There's no store actually, but you know, they think we're on display or we're selling things, and it's like, no, we rarely sell anything. For the most part, we just collect and enjoy what we have.
Yeah.
But this again, it's a mobile unit. It's on two skids. Two sleds on the bottom.
Kind of slide it around.
Yeah, and you can just slide this and push it around out of the way like that. It's pretty easy, and it's nice for offsetting in the center to give you some display options.
Yeah, when you got when you doing your collection room, especially if you have limited space, you got to try to get kind of creative. Because what really got us thinking, I don't even know why we were in shoe show or wherever we went. I don't know why we were there. Pay less. But again, they were going out of business, and I saw the shelves in the thing, and I'm like, man, I think I could put a Funko Pop on that, because that's what I was. That's what my thought was when I first saw it.
Yeah.
And we asked them, "What are you going to do with these fixtures?" And she said, "Oh, we're selling them."
Yeah.
And they sell them for nothing. Now, some stores get outrageous on you. Some stores, they just want it gone.
But like that center display was $10.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. Or these tables, and I talked about them before, that they're modular tables because they were made for jeans, actually.
Yeah, jeans and shirts.
So it's a big, and it's a heavy metal table. It's metal. Where the Terrordrome is sitting on and the Serpentor statue, and it's about this high. And then this lower table
goes under it.
Yeah, it slides right under it.
And it's another one.
A small white one.
Yeah.
That goes under this one that I have over in the corner.
Oh, yeah, it's over there.
But, you know, then you can cascade stair step, and then just we stacked everything on them. We got 2 sets of the tables, and they only wanted, again, like $10 a set.
Yeah, for the whole
set. So we were like, yeah, we'll take 2 sets, and you know, that way we can divide the room with them.
Yeah.
Which worked out great. It displays really well. But yeah, it's afforded us a lot of great options. The whole slat wall system has.
Yeah, and I mean, you can watch YouTube channels and get some ideas, because when we were in Illinois, the idea I got was the pegboard, and we did the pegboard there and just bought the pegboard hooks, and then you can hang your action figures on it like that. And that was a good option, but you're limited to
just
hooks.
Pegs. Yeah, you can only put the peg insert on those boards and not much else.
Yeah, nothing else can really go on it. So you were limited, and then you had to build it out, because you had to buy the pegboard and then frame it and then hang it on the wall.
Yeah.
So you know, you had to do a little bit, but you got to hang up the slat walls too. So you buy them. If you can get a whole sheet, because it's 8. It's
8 by 4.
Yeah, 8 by 4. So the size of a piece of sheetrock. And you put it up, and then if you got to cut it, you cut it, and you know, do all that.
Make sure it goes on the studs, and that's the big thing. And I've seen people make that error. They don't understand how that works, because I've seen people put shelving up without thinking, oh, you should put screws and studs, not just sheetrock.
Yeah, because they ain't gonna hold nothing.
And then they have a video where all of their shelves, the weight just pulled out of the sheetrock, and all their stuff's on the floor, and the shelves are there, and the figures are all broken. I've seen videos like that on YouTube, and it's like, oh, dude, why didn't you drill it into the studs? And they're saying that it's like, you know, I didn't think to check for the studs. Oh my God, please.
Blue Splash said the person that had the house before him left him a lot of shelves and lighting in the basement, and that saves you a lot. I also, Kim Munin, also, I've said this before, I wish to have my collection set up like yours in the toy museum. Yeah, I mean,
it works for us.
Yeah, it works for us. And as long as you know you got the will and you working hard to get to that point, you will. But you got to work with what you got right now. If you got a rental or an apartment, you get yourself some bookshelves.
Yeah, and if bookshelves is all you have, then that's fine. And you know, a good alternative for the bookshelves. Do I have one handy here? If you do have to use bookshelves, I don't know if I have any of those. Oh, I do. If you do have to use bookshelves, then you can stair step the inside of the bookshelves.
Oh yeah, he getting y'all, showing y'all something.
Yeah.
I mean, but Axel, I mean, a lot of people talk about the tariffs, but you got to actually kind of wait and see,
because they really haven't even gone into effect yet.
Yeah, nothing's happened yet. I think everybody's kind of jumping the gun, so you kind of got to wait.
Like this right here.
Yeah.
This is and it's expandable actually. See.
Yeah.
But that's a spice rack. It's a spice rack, literally. So if you have like loose figures and you've got a bookshelf, you can stick this in the bookshelf, and then, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
You know, 1, 2, 3, and then on the front 4, and stair step them so that you can see them, instead of just having the bookshelf like a foot deep with action figures
that you can't
and
see.
You can only really see the first row. These are a great alternative for if you have deep shelves and you don't, you know, that's the best you can do is bookshelves. The spice racks are cheap.
They sell them at Goodwill a lot too.
Yeah, they turn up at Goodwill a lot.
The plastic ones and the wooden ones.
Yeah, and you can use these if you've got loose figures to again stair step them behind each other to best utilize that space.
James owns his house and got his displays in an old china cabinet and plexiglass museum displays. Saturday Morning said collectors' room walls are really tough here. Sadly, we tend to use bookcases as a result. That wall laughs at you if you try to put a nail in it. Yeah. Yeah, been down the bookshelf and Deltos for a while before getting Maju case. I like the Maju cases, but boy, they're expensive. But I love the way they look, especially for statues. But I saw this one YouTube video, and the guy, he bought the metal shells from Home Depot with the metal rack, and he put his statues on there. He kind of framed it out, and it looked really good. If you don't pay attention, you would think it's a Maji case the way he has it, but it looked really nice. But I like the way the Maji case looks. Hey, Road Pig, how are you?
He wants to know if we're stopping collecting pre-orders because of tariffs. Well, again, they haven't really gone into effect yet.
Yeah,
being honest,
you gotta wait and see. You
we
can't just jump the gun because somebody says something. How many times somebody said something and nothing's happened? I mean, yeah, Big Bad Toy Store is putting up the prices. So,
but we're not, we don't get a lot of new stuff anyway.
yeah, that's true.
Me especially.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't affect me that much.
Yeah, but you can't react. I mean, just because
wait
you
till
hear
it happens.
something, don't just react and then 4 months go by and nothing's happened, and now you've canceled all your pre-orders.
Yeah.
At Big Bad Toy Store, you don't lose nothing. Some places you take a hit.
Yeah.
They want something from you, but I mean, you kind of gotta wait and see. You can't believe nothing you hear.
Yeah.
So
you never know how it's gonna turn out.
Exactly.
Really.
So don't move. If you say, okay, well, I'm afraid that the tariffs is going to take effect, don't buy nothing else. Leave what you got in place and just sit on your money. Sit tight and then just wait and see.
And I'll give you a tip on that too. Mm-hmm. Most of that, it's impulse purchases. If you want to be honest with yourselves, do you really need it anyway? There's so much out there already, and all that stuff you've got on pre-order that you're like, oh, where's my pre-order? Where's my pre-order? And then 6 months after it comes out, it's on clearance somewhere anyway. Yeah. So, because we see it at shows all the time.
God,
and we're seeing these boxed figures, G.I. Joe Classifieds, NECA, Ninja Turtles, Super 7, Silverhawks, name it, WWE wrestlers from Mattel, even these new carded Masters of the Universe Origins and stuff. You know what the retail is on these things that people, did pre-orders and did hunts for and ran around all over the creation trying to find. And then, 6 months, a year later, they're on clearance at Ollie's for $5. We're finding them at shows for like $7-10 a pop. Star Wars Black Series, $10 each. And it's like, go buy those. Go buy those. I think a lot of it for a lot of people is just this impulse buying. And there are anomalies. There are anomalies that occasional item that aftermarket, you just can't find it. It gets expensive.
And it's popular to the point where it holds its value.
Yeah, but for the most part, all this stuff ends up on clearance, and then it's dirt cheap after the fact. And we talked about this last week or the week before, and I can mention it again. And that was what the dealer told us at Toylantic, because we do talk to them, and without naming the guy, but he was talking to the two of us about the carded Star Wars figures. And what he was like, I don't understand these modern toy collectors. They already know how this works. And he talked about the 90s Star Wars. And he was like, I get them all the time. People bring them into my store almost by the hundreds. Every week, somebody's got 40, 50, 60, 100, 200, 500 of them mint on the card. They're bringing in. And he won't pay but 25 cents a piece for them. That's what he'll pay. A quarter a piece, mint on the card. And he sits there and rips them all open.
Yeah.
And he throws the packaging away and sells them loose in a little Ziploc bag for $1 each. And he'll sell 50, 60 of them a week. But he'll have carded ones on the wall for $1. Maybe 1 or 2 a week will sell. They don't sell. And that's like dirt cheap compared to what those originally retailed for. And we're seeing that same oversaturation right now in the modern collectors market. And for some reason, every time the next new thing rolls out, everybody wants to jump on it like they're starving to death.
Yeah.
And they're chasing a chicken around in the yard. I'm gonna eat. And then months later, how long did people look for Tomax and Zaymont? Couldn't find them. And then Ollie's had them for $5.99.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of them in every store. And it's like, oh my God. And then there's still, people bought them. Dealers sucked them up, and they're selling them at the shows for 10. It's so take a break. If it gets crazy on the prices, take a break until China either quits or they move the factory, because that's what's going to happen. Bottom line, because it's a lose-lose situation.
Hey, David.
They'll either quit and say, okay, we'll bring the price back down, or someone else will pick it up that has a better deal. Or, the companies don't care where the factory is as long as they can get a good price. Honestly, hell, they might even bring it back here.
Shoot.
So we'll see what happens.
Johnny, I am going to order everything except for Elmo. And Robert,
that's what Johnny says too. He says he doesn't want Elmo either.
No, I don't. When I go to those shows, I don't really look too much at the modern figures. So I see Mezco, but I never look at them to see what they even go for.
And it's Mezco again. It's an anomaly. Some of them.
Hey, Kip.
Yeah, Kip is here. He says he likes pre-1999 figures. There you go. Because the vintage is out there, and some of that vintage is cheaper than modern figures.
And that's what Saturday Morning Fan was saying.
Oh gosh, watch those cables.
Hold on, let me move these wires.
It's not the wires, it's you.
No, my foot keeps getting hung up in them.
But what was I saying? The Mezco, because some of them hold a value, like Red Skull, Space Ghost, certain ones are still way up there. But there's a lot of them aftermarket, forget it. I see them all the time selling for like $50 or less, Aquaman and Wonder Woman and stuff like that, especially a lot of the like Justice League ones. They've tanked. They're well below retail. And
Aaron says the new mass toys are the same price as the vintage ones, and they're not even good.
Here's an example. These are some ones that
Target
LPH is working on a series.
Target has them on clearance,
and these are dirt cheap.
I can buy used 80s Oracle for $10, but the Origins Oracle is $25, says Saturday Morning. I forgot about Tomax and Zaymont. Just how many of Hasbro lines have been failures?
And then this is the line she's working on. It's not these are not expensive at all, and they are vintage 90s.
Yeah,
the Ultra
I watched Ultra Force. And it wasn't bad. I like the show. And, that's one where you see the comics in the dollar bin, 50-cent bin. And we've bought out lots. And Ultra Force is always in it. And I started saying, we buy out these lots and they always have the same books. I want to just try reading it and seeing if it's bad. Because you always see it in the dollar bin and the 50-cent bin. But I found the... cartoon.
And these black carded ones were commanded a big price in the 90s, and now they're nobody cares.
Yeah. The cartoon wasn't bad. I'm like, okay, they could have took more time with it and dragged it out a little longer, but they weren't bad. Anomalies are the tricky ones. No one knows which ones will be the anomaly. It's part of the thrill of the chase.
Axel there.
Yeah.
But she's been getting the Ultra Force, and they're real cheap now. They're less now than I think the original retail price.
Yeah. Love the black carded variants are tough.
Yeah, but back in the day, these black carded variants sold for quite a bit.
Yeah, actually, those is 2 lots from one vendor. So it was 6 figures. So it was 6 figures that he sold to me for one price, and it was like $40. So they were cheap, you know.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start the line.
And then
I got the
vehicles
vehicle. It's only 2 vehicles.
that were never in the show.
Yeah, because the only vehicle in the show was the airplane they used,
Yeah.
the spacecraft they used, because everybody flew.
Yeah.
Ultra Force bought by Marvel, who then never used them other than Topaz and Exile's name.
It's also a good way to shut down another comic company so no
Mhm.
one else can use it. But yeah, I mean, you can find, and we did videos on it for 70s, 80s, and 90s figures.
Yeah.
Just a few, not all of them, obviously,
Yeah.
but just a handful of, hey, you can still find these for under $50.
Mhm.
Or even, I mention it all the time, the Toy Biz stuff is way cheaper than the modern Marvels. Even the Marvel figures that are supposed to be remakes of the old Toy Biz. They even got them on Toy Biz looking cards, and they do it on purpose. They cost more than if you bought the old Toy Biz ones. That they look a little better, but the vintage ones are cheaper.
I tried watching the Nightman live action. I couldn't get past the first episode.
Saturday mornings asking about Nightman there.
Yeah, that I couldn't get past the first episode. It was just I couldn't do it. It was because they have it on like Tubi or Prime or something. And I tried watching it and I'm just like, oh no, this is bad.
Road Pig liked the Ultra Force cartoon. He says, who knows what killed the show? I think the figures were too big, looked good, but some of them were too big. Well, I mean, it was a Saturday morning show, and most Saturday morning shows don't last more than a single season, period.
Yeah.
It's rare. It's something I've talked about a few times. It's rare to see a show like Smurfs, for example, that I think had 9 seasons. Usually it's one season. Occasionally, one out of like 30 or 40 Saturday morning shows might get 2, but almost all of them are what you might call a one-hit wonder season. They get a season out of it and then they just move on.
I never heard of Nightmare, Robert, but the character we're talking about is Nightman.
Yeah.
But I never heard of a Nightmare on Batman. Now I know Scarecrow would cause people to go into tantrums because he would make them face their fears, but it wasn't a religious character or nothing religious about it. So I don't know. Anyway, that's Nightman gets better after first 2, 3. Okay.
Says Kip. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It just seemed kind of goofy. But and Johnny's built. Yeah, I remember talking about that. He says he's building 2 vehicles by Fan Home, 18th scale DeLorean and 66 Batmobile, and it's mostly metal and weigh about 26 pounds when finished.
Oh, so it's a model kit?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You build it piece by piece. You get it in pieces. So yeah.
Nightman had a crossover episode with Manimals.
Oh, Manimal came back in Nightman, according to Saturday Morning Fan. I remember Manimal. I do remember.
They did a TV show that, and you remember we've seen it and say it was one of the worst ones. It always pops up as one of the worst TV shows.
I don't remember. I remember seeing it when I was a kid because it's another one that I think it didn't get out of the pilots. It was, a few episodes, and then they canceled it in the 80s, where he turns into different animals, and they would show these transformations, but they would drag out the transformation scenes so that it took like forever. And I don't know, they kept using the same transformation scenes, and I guess that's kind of made it boring when they rehashed it like that over and over again. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Axel likes outlier stuff like the Underdog. You never know is as valid as any other. Ultra Force might make you filthy rich one day. I don't know about that. People thought that about starting lineup.
Yeah.
And it's only a handful of them that are any value. The rest of them, it's, you see them under the tables in
at shows
all the time.
They're sometimes they're for $1. Sometimes the most I've seen them for is $5. But they're usually like in a box that says $1 each.
Yeah.
It takes 2 years to build. Wow.
Johnny's saying that those
4
kits
packs
are
each
2 years.
year.
Yeah. So
Oh,
one a
wow.
week roughly.
Oh, wow.
And Saturday morning said Manimal had action figures, but it bombed. I don't remember a Manimal action figures.
Hey,
And Stone
Stone
Sour is here,
Sour,
and he
better
made
late than never.
a donation to the shelter
fund.
cats, to our cat fund. Much appreciated there.
Thank you.
Much appreciated
We
there.
really appreciate that.
I'll give you another preview for our pickups from Sasquatch Comics, Toys and Comics. I did also get a carded Meagle there today. It's Mr. Spock.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually really nice shape, that card. Carded Mr. Spock, first series Meagle 1974 that I picked up there. He had a Uhura too, but I already have a Uhura.
Yeah. On the card?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I have a carded Uhura, a Wave 1 Meagle, classic Meagle. This is the Meagle people want. Star Trek, Planet of the Apes, superheroes. And Meagle finally figured that out and stopped making like cheers and things.
Yeah.
No,
hey, no. Facts of Life.
Oh God, Facts of Life. Yeah, that was a brilliant idea. Although again, I speculate it could be because of their contract with Target, because that's how they got back into the business, was contracting through Target, and they have that pilot program that Target runs. But yeah, he's in great condition for Spock there. And I think it's funny that his gun still changed color inside the package, because that happens. Sometimes the accessories turn green. They're supposed to be blue.
You're in Gadsden, right?
Kip says he sells stuff, Seth stuff all the time.
Right.
Yeah, where are you?
I think you told us that you were in Gadsden. I think, because we were of course close to Gadsden today when we went to Birmingham.
Yes.
So hey, Custom God, how are you?
Here. And yes, but we got a lot of stuff there.
Yeah,
we did a lot of pickups today, but you'll see that again in the tour video that we put up for Sasquatch. Probably either tomorrow or Monday it'll go up. And there you go.
Pokemon cards, yeah.
Yeah, Blue Splash talking about Pokemon cards
at Mountaintop Flea Market outside of Gadsden, Alabama.
Okay,
okay,
Kip,
Mountaintop
you're at the flea market. All right.
Flea Market.
I don't think we've been to that.
No,
we haven't been there.
No, we've never been there.
And Johnny said like Rambo's face turning green or gray.
Gray.
On the Force of Freedom figures, that's really common. It also happens to
your black hole figures is like that.
No, mine are not.
I'm looking at
it's dark
one.
up there.
Oh,
that's why. I know mine are not.
Because
I don't know what's wrong with you. I wouldn't have them if they were gray. I would have got rid of them. But yeah, the 12.5-inch Migos tend to have that problem, and you often see it with the just totally grayed out face, and that can be, if you touch it, it's sticky and oily.
Oh wow.
So
I want the
what do you want?
I want the Migo Planet of the Apes. I know I won't get
that's
them
an expensive line.
That's what I was about to say. It costs too much, so I won't get it, but
yeah.
I would like it. I saw a bunch of Pokemon cards earlier today. They
collectors
were all older folks buying them, not kids.
Says Kane Union.
Shooting my shot. Oh, so you got an indoor booth, not the outdoor booth. Okay. Hey Jimmy, how are you?
Is here.
Slim Jim.
Slim Jim?
Jimmy Slim. Step into a Slim Jim. So how to
Nostalgic says, how do you prevent it? Keep it out of the sunlight. It's interaction with UV light that does it. That causes the plastic to break down. And yeah, Kip says you can fix it. Yeah, there is some things that you can do.
What, bleach it?
No.
Oh.
But yeah, just to make the point. Let me pull down Buck here.
You don't have a gray one? Found a Rambo figure, but oddly, it had another Rambo toy leg on it.
Really?
That was odd. He has two colored legs from two figures.
It says Saturday morning. But yeah, like you see my Gil Gerard there. He's not gray. That's how the color he's supposed to be. I know it's hard to see with the glare. I'm trying to get him in there. He has not changed. But it's interaction with UV light. So if you can find them like this, you got to make sure that sunlight never touches these.
Hey, Max.
If you want to keep it just like that. Yeah, Max went to the flea market. Hundreds of Funkos loose or exposed to light.
Yes.
Yeah, and the flea market's the worst.
Have a good night, Sylvan.
Is the worst place.
Yeah.
For that sort of thing, because especially out in the elements like that, the packaging and everything is just going to deteriorate rather quickly.
We went to the flea market last weekend, and it was a lot of Funko Pops out there.
Short out there.
Yeah, it was a couple of because of course when you go to the flea market, you got the outdoor portion and the indoor portion, and outside they had a couple. They had one vendor. All they had was Funko. They didn't have anything else. They had
that's the guy
like 2-3 tables
because he had a trailer full of unopened cases of
them,
and he was bringing them out and cracking open the cases and setting them up, and I'm like, oh my god. That's why I filmed the short, and I try to be discreet because I don't want to disturb the guy, but I'm like, oh my god. That's just nuts. And when you're at the point where that stuff's turning up at the flea market en masse, a lot of vendors had them.
Yeah, it was a lot of vendors. And then on the inside portion, there was a Funko Pop vendor. All he had was Funko Pop. He's not there anymore. He's gone. The G.I. Gerald.
Gil Gerard.
The
actor who played Buck Rogers. That's what Robert's talking about. He thinks the zombie ones look creepy.
Going out the toy shows. The sun just kills everything. Well, I mean, when you go to the show and it's outside, I mean, hopefully it's just outside for that little bit of time.
At those flea markets, man, they're out there all weekend for like 10 hours every weekend until they fade completely into oblivion. So they're so faded you could see through them. You can see your hand on the other side of the box.
They're not that bad.
Yeah, bleached out a lot of that packaging is.
Yeah, you can't even tell what color the packaging is anymore. And some comics and VHS faded in the sun. Yes.
Saturday morning.
Yeah, we see a lot of that going to shows and how just faded everything is, just sitting there. And it's like, okay, you probably got to cover it up, put it underneath the tent or something. But yeah, Funko's been tanking. So Bucky O'Hare. Yeah, we started watching.
Said the vintage is cheaper than the modern boss fight. Well, the boss fights are going down, aren't they? The original retail, at the original retail, yes, but they ended up in Ollie's too. Those boss fight studios, because she got 2 there.
It wasn't Bucky O'Hare, was it?
Bucky O'Hare.
Oh, was it?
That was Bucky O'Hare. They ended up at Ollie's for $5 a pop.
Because I found 2, and I could never find anything else.
Any of the others.
And we're watching Bucky O'Hare now.
Yeah, it's actually, there's a lot of sexual innuendo in that show.
It's not a bad show, because just from looking at what the characters look like, you think it's going to be doofy like Street Sharks and Ninja Turtles or something like that, or the Extreme Dinosaur. You think it's going to be dumb like that?
Extreme Dinosaur is insufferable.
It was worse than Street Sharks.
It was. The writing was worse than Street Sharks, if that's even possible. It's like, oh my god, that just doesn't make any sense. It was so dumbed down. It was so low key.
Yeah, it was bad. Wow. But the Bucky, I'm actually surprised. It's not that bad. The dialogue is not awful. It's like, it's for older than 8, I think. It's written for a child older than 8. But you can tell, like, Street Sharks, Ninja Turtle, that's from like 4 to 7, 4 to 8. But Bucky,
the writing's a little more sophisticated. It just looks weird, but the writing is a little bit more sophisticated. It's kind of like if you watch Masters of the Universe and then you watch Brave Star, and you can tell Brave Star was written for a little bit more of a mature audience.
Yeah, like a teenager.
Yeah,
almost.
As opposed to Masters, which was written for a much younger audience.
Yeah, about 8.
And then Black Star, which was written for
like 4-year-old,
for people that are still like on the bottle. because
that bad.
they got a sippy cup and a nappy, and they're watching Black Star because that's about the IQ level that the writing on Black Star is at.
What's ad figures like? No, I don't get stuff like that.
Advertising
No,
figures.
I don't get
Like
stuff
the
like
what
that.
you mean, like the Jada medals?
Yeah.
Jada's doing. Yeah, they get those cereal icons. Those
Yeah.
haven't held up aftermarket either because we see them at shows for like $15.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that's which is what, about 10 under retail. I think they retail for around 25ish. So yeah, those haven't been holding up aftermarket either.
Yeah.
But they've done cereal mascot action figures before.
Yeah, you got a bunch.
Well, no, I mean action figures,
Okay.
like carded action figures. Like I know that they did who was it? They did Captain Crunch and Jean Lafoot.
Yeah.
In the late 90s or early 2000s. It's been done. It's usually, when it comes to that kind of stuff, you got to get the earliest incarnations to start seeing any value, because over the years it's been done so many times. It's been done so many times. But yeah, you can still find that stuff cheap. But aftermarket, I don't expect too much out of it unless somebody does like a convention exclusive, and then they'll just force the value. Saturday Morning said Bucky based on a comic that was also a Star Wars Marvel character in the 70s before that comic. Yeah, the Rabbit. And that was a what is his name? Larry Hama. That Larry Hama incarnation.
Okay.
Bucky O'Hare wrote those.
Yeah. So
yeah. So you could always bring him your Bucky O'Hare comic to get him to sign it if you see him at the shows.
I don't have a Bucky O'Hare comic.
It'd probably be a welcome change for him than G.I. Joe nonstop. Because I'm sure almost everything he gets is G.I. Joe. He'd probably be kind of shocked to see a Bucky O'Hare item.
Or that somebody knew he had something to do with it.
Yeah, that he had anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, Bucky. You know, I always wonder about that. You bring somebody it's like if you see Michael Dorn at a convention, and instead of bringing him a picture of Worf from Star Trek, you bring him a picture of Chips, because he was on the show Chips.
Oh, he was on Chips?
He's an original Chips cast member from the 70s. And if you bring him like a Chips and see what he has to say about it, oh, please, you know, how he feels about that. Just something off the mark. Like if you brought William Shatner something that wasn't Star Trek.
Or Twilight Zone.
Because I'm sure
we've seen a couple of movies that William Shatner's been in.
Twilight Zone. Oh, yeah. Oh, and you meant he did a bunch of made-for-TV movies in the 70s.
That's what I'm saying. He
Crazy
did some
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you could find
He did that one. Wasn't it ants? Yeah, it was those killer. Oh, it was spiders.
It was spiders.
Yeah, in that desert
they
town.
took over the town.
Yeah.
Bring him that, and he'd be like, I remember I did this. Something different.
One thing Saturday morning, I found out about those Happy Meal boxes. Sometimes we actually saw Batman the Animated Series Happy Meal boxes.
They had actual action figures in the early 90s.
Yeah, but we saw the meal boxes and the meal figures. But you don't always see those. Sometimes at shows we'll see the meal boxes. We always see the Happy Meal prizes.
Most prizes, because they made them by the millions.
Yeah.
If you're into that, you can get them for a decent price. Most of them. There's some exceptions, just like anything else. But most of them are really reasonable now.
Yeah, but I found to get those, you almost kind of have to go on eBay to find it, because you don't always see those in shows and at flea markets and antique malls. But like we saw the Batman Animated Series one today, and then
Seth had a set.
Yeah, we were at a show, one of them outdoor shows, and David found, I think, Burger King boxes.
Yes.
Superpowers,
like Burger King tie-in to, of course, the Kenner Superpowers.
Hey, nerd, how are you?
Yeah, Robert said it was Kingdom of the Spiders.
That movie was crazy.
Was the name of that Shatner film.
Yeah, that movie was crazy. It was good though.
Yeah.
But it was kind of crazy. It was because the spiders took over, of course.
Yeah, Johnny took a Reader's Digest magazine from 1947 with 25-year-old Stan Lee photo on the cover and had him sign it. He was shocked and asked him where he got it. That's different. And Aaron said Shatner is singing Lucy in the... Yeah, well, he didn't really sing it. He couldn't sing, and that was back in the day in the 70s. It was a popular thing to get celebrities to cut an album. Almost everybody had an album. That was just the thing. It's kind of like now everybody's got to have an Instagram or something, right? So Shatner can't sing. So he did all of his stuff spoken verse, like
spoken
word, like he's reading a poem. So Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, he did as a dramatic read rather than singing. And he also famously did Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. And it sounds nuts when he does it. But, you know, fortunately for Nimoy, he could sing as well as Nichelle Nichols and so on. But yeah, if you were a big enough celebrity in those days, they wanted you to cut a record.
Do you guys have whatever that is for also called Iron Man 28?
Tetsujin, Iron Man 28 Action Toys brand has a great figure, good smile, a great model put together, says Road Pig. No, we do not have that.
Okay.
Maybe someone else in here does.
Yeah, I knew I didn't have it because I don't even know what that word is. I can only imagine how bad some of those celebrity albums are.
According to Kane Noonan. But yeah, many of them, it was just the thing. It was just the thing. John Travolta's isn't bad because he can carry a tune. John Travolta could sing. Of course, he came out of Broadway, so he should be able to do. He should be able to do. And so there you go. Nerd said Space Oddity. What was Space Oddity?
I think maybe that was the name of the album.
Maybe. Jimmy wants to know if we have Stretch Armstrong. No, I don't have any Stretch Armstrong. There was a resurgence of Stretch Armstrong in the 90s, and that's including some carded pieces, and that would be your best bet as opposed to trying to get any of the 70s pieces, which can be astronomically expensive.
Oh, really?
Especially like the Mego superhero versions can run you over 10 grand in the box. Plus they'll be hard as a brick because they're full of corn syrup basically. That the 90s ones would be a better shot, but no, I don't have any of that kind of stuff.
No, we never saw Horror Monkey. Yeah, he did Rocket Man. That's what it was.
Oh, Rocket Man. Yeah.
I heard the Rocket Man one. Yeah, that one was crazy.
And
classic
Saturday mornings ask you about sticker albums, He-Man's, Transformers, Smurfs. No, we don't have that. I remember those. They would sell them in the like wax packs, and you could get the books. I had the Mad Magazine one once upon a time, because they did that in the 80s as well. The Mad Magazine sticker book series. Man, it was a bitch to complete those. I also have the I do have the Burger King one for Empire Strikes Back.
Jimmy had a Stretch Armstrong as a kid, but his cousin ripped the arm off.
Oh no, that's awful. That's awful.
Crazy. Because that would have been worth something if you had kept it.
It wouldn't have lived anyway.
You don't think so?
Because kids played with those and they destroyed them because they wanted to go to the limits with that Stretch Armstrong and eventually would destroy it.
Oh no!
Because that's just the way it was designed. That's just the way it was designed. It's one of those toys that you just had to wreck. I
didn't know Thundercats had a record. I got the He-Man one. I try to find those records because, like we talked about earlier, having those alternative things to just add to your collection to make it like more interesting. And records are one of the ones that I try to find. And sometimes when you're at shows, you might see records and other stuff like that. But I never seen one for Thundercats, and I never really looked for them. I only think about them really when I'm at shows. Hey, Frankie Frog, how are you? I only think about them when I see it. If I go somewhere and I see it, or like if we excuse me, we buy a lot of records. Sometimes they have like a grouping of children's records in there, and it might be something. But other than that, I never really think about it.
Yeah.
I always love Nemoids.
The Bill Baggins, because there is a video associated. I've seen that, RA. And Frankenfrog, he said he tested the stretch of his backman and cornstarch flew everywhere.
Ooh.
Not the best idea.
I doubt that.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Robert. I never heard that about Shatner.
Yeah,
living
it sounded kind of
being
far-fetched.
homeless. I don't know if that's true
Especially
or not.
when he was doing movies all that time.
Yeah, he never really stopped. He's never really stopped working, actually, as far as I know. He's always on game shows or doing made-for-TV movies or having guest appearances. He was on Columbo. Stuff like that.
I saw the episode of Columbo.
He appeared in a lot of shows as different characters. He was on an episode of Kung Fu. He was the sailor. He had red hair and a beard.
I think I kind of remember that.
He was the ship's captain trying to, and him and his couple of his crew were trying to catch Kwai Chan Kang for the reward, and he couldn't do it. And then he was like, "All right, you win. I give up. I can't do it. Go on your way." And he just gave up.
William Shatner charges $80 to $90.
Does he?
Compared to what others charge, that's really good. Action Man. We actually saw an Action Man figure today. It was the vehicle.
Yeah, I saw a Jeep. Well, that's the 90s resurgence. That's the 90s one that was produced in the US that came in the orange boxes.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, we're going to get off a little early today because we do have some things to do.
Oh, okay. He talked about being homeless.
Oh, Shatner did?
Maybe,
says RA?
Yeah,
I never heard it.
I don't know.
I never heard it. But again, we got a couple of things that we need to wrap up. So we're going to go ahead and get off. Say thank you to everybody for joining us here tonight. Always appreciated. Thank you to Pastor Rick and to Stone Sour, who made donations to the channel to help us with our shelter cats. Very much appreciated. And we'll say thank you to everybody else for joining us here today. Again, check out our channel for the Easter specials.
Yes.
Check out our channel for the Easter specials if you're looking for some nostalgia. Again, I've reinserted all vintage Easter commercials into them to make them a little more interesting. So hope you enjoy that. And we will try to do this again sometime soon.